It caught my attention, and I think that's a diplomatic way of putting it, when I read what Jerod Mayo said of his team, calling them out publicly and referencing them as soft, unable to stop the run. And then we all heard Bill Belichick's response. I'm interested in your view on what Jerod Mayo said, whether that should have been said privately, if at all, whether it should have been said publicly. I don't recall a time that I just can't remember a time when a coach called his team soft publicly.
I mean, just we can go back to Justin Fields and his comments about, if I played better, there would have been no question I was the starter. We can go to Jerod Mayo and say he called his team soft because they couldn't stop the run. And we can say, okay, those are things to keep in-house. Those are things you don't say publicly. But I'm a firm believer that as a player, you have to be realistic about where you're at. And if a coach is asked a question and he comes out and says, we're soft, we can't stop the run, we're not winning physical battles up front, we can get mad all we want at the coach, or we can look at the tape and go, you know what, he's right. I can't stop him from telling the truth, just like, Mike Tomlin, came out and said, hey, we're not trying to just be okay at quarterback. We want to be great. So we're going to push the envelope to be great, insinuating Justin hasn't been great playing the quarterback position. Then Justin says the same thing. And so it comes down to reality and being able to go as a man, watch the film and accept the results of the film. If the film says you didn't play well and your coach says you didn't play well, you can get mad at him all you want, or you can go, he's right, I didn't play well. Now, if you don't think that's the case and he's calling you soft or saying you didn't play well in the media, that can be a whole different thing. But to me, you always got to be honest with yourself as a player. And I'm never going to get mad at someone for giving an honest assessment of my play if I believe they are accurate in what they're saying. And so, I don't really care. If a coach comes out and says that, I'm not going to get mad just because he says that. Now, if I don't think that's the case and he says that, then I would probably counter that when I got my opportunity to speak to the media and say, I don't believe we're soft, or I don't believe this was the case, or, whatever that is. But we have to be very realistic. I think that's the only way to be great as a player, is to be realistic with what the media says about you, what your teammates say about you, what your coaches say about you, what you believe about you. If you want to try to sugarcoat it, because I always used to say this, it was so easy to go into a film session and watch the film and try to excuse away things that you did based on the film, right? Like, what really happened in the game, but then you go into the film and you watch and you're like, maybe I can say, this happened here, or, I went there because the safety. What's the truth? Like, what's the bottom line is you can be accountable and say, you know what? I saw this, I was wrong, that's on me. Or you can try to excuse it away. And at the end of the day, what does that do for anybody? To me, being accountable is a huge part of being a leader. It's a huge part of building a team, is going, I can raise my hand when I make a mistake. I want you to raise your hand when you make a mistake. I want coach to raise his hand when he makes a mistake. And together we're going to address those things, and we're all going to try to get better at our jobs so we can be great together. And so I just, we live in an era where everybody's sensitive, but to me, it's read and understand what the reality is and be able to accept the reality. I tell a lot of young quarterbacks that I work with is that there are going to be, articles written about you throughout your career. Some are going to say you're great. And I had plenty of articles that said I was great when I went and watched the film and go, I was okay. The game maybe played out well, or I had a good completion percentage or whatever. So it looked really good, but I know it wasn't really good. So I could read the article and go, man, I'm great. Or I could read the article and go, it's just kind of fluff because I know what really happened. There were plenty of articles where they said I was awful, and I would go watch the tape and go, they have no idea what they're talking about. Like, they're just making stuff up because we didn't win or the stats didn't look good. But I thought I played a really, really good game because I could realistically assess what was going on and why I did what I did and what made it a completion or an incompletion in a particular situation. And I just think that is so important if you want to be great at anything, is to be able to realistically assess and take what you need to take from a certain situation discard what doesn't make any sense or what somebody doesn't understand, and then move forward trying to become better tomorrow than I was today. And so I'm not into this whole sensitive thing of, oh, somebody criticized me, so I'm going to get mad. If I deserve to be criticized, it's part of the job, it's part of the role, and it's part of getting better. I want somebody, like even now when I do, a couple TV games, Rich and I did the games over in London. Man, one of the first things I did is I text people that I know that listen to it, or people at the NFL Network, and go, give me feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I only do this a couple times. Tell me how I can get better. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, where I can improve. Because we got another one in Germany in a couple of weeks. And it's like, tell me, help me, assess things. And then I can go back and assess it myself. And I can use that to challenge myself moving forward where I think I can challenge myself. Or other times there'll be stuff that you go, I don't know if I'm fully buying that, which is okay. I just think everything should be about being coachable and challenging what you already believe, to be more convicted with what you're doing, or to change and become better at what you're doing. And so I don't really care if a coach comes out and says something like that. I look at it and go, well, if I believe my coach, and I think he's being honest, he's telling us that we need to get tougher. We need to get better. We need to win those physical battles. And then I need to assess that on film and see if there's a realistic point in there that applies to me. And I need to take that personally, and I need to be better for my team.
Check out new episodes of What the Football with Suzy Shuster and Amy Trask every Tuesday. Watch us on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube page, or follow and listen wherever you get your podcasts.